Okay. I'll
Yes,
keep
that's-
that in mind.
I haven't had them in a while. I'm pretty sure that's how they work. Where you have to like freeze them.
All right, I'm recording. I'm going to share how we did yesterday on assignments. Here we go. There's Ashton. Good morning, Ashton. All right, so we got everything from Aaliyah, everything from Amara, math from Ashton. I got everything from Amy. Bentley, I got your reading log. Nothing else. Billy, I got your journal and your math and nothing else. Brandon, I got everything from you, everything from Braxton, everything from Christian, nothing from Daniel, everything from Hade, everything from Haiti, everything from Jonathan. Jose, all I needed was your 5,000 steps and we would have been able to count you. I got everything from Leo, everything from Maddie, nothing from Michael, everything from Montserrat, everything from Natalie Polo. All I needed was Harry Potter. And I got everything from Valeria and everything from Wyatt. I think it's 15. When I went to bed last night, it was 15. And I don't think that any of these things are new this morning. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15. All right. So here's the deal. We were doing really, really well. Recently, we've been doing not so well. So here's my threat. You don't turn all your stuff in today. You get to do it during Harry Potter tomorrow. Okay? Turn your work in. Michael is not even here, so I can't talk to him. Daniel, I don't know why you think you've been on vacation for 2
Turn everything in unless you don't want to watch Harry Potter.
I've got nothing from you for days. Ashton, I don't know what you're doing. But if you want to hang out and watch the movie tomorrow, Bentley, Billy, Jose, Polo, if you want to watch the movie tomorrow, you got to turn your stuff in. Okay? I'll just put you in a breakout room somewhere else and you can get your work done. Everybody got it?
Yeah.
Get it done. Okay? Because 15 is scary. What's up? What's up, Jonathan? What are you trying to tell me?
Are you gonna be like watching it? How are you gonna be I know you're gonna like share your screen and have it going, but like how's it gonna be like what are you gonna be using it like watching the Harry Potter movie on?
What am I playing it on? I have a DVD player in my computer.
Okay. It's because if it's on YouTube it's not good because I've watched like TV shows on it and like it's either like they just like you have to skip.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be on a DVD. I have an
something or they just zoom in when it's not supposed to.
Yeah, I have an external DVD drive that I will play it on. Okay. I can't promise it'll be especially for those of us who have internet that's a little sketchy. It's still going to be a little sketchy because it's still going to be coming through your internet, but it won't be coming off of YouTube and your.
Yeah, I have something I can put my disc on my computer right now, but I don't have any discs.
All right, so let's take a look what we've got to get done today because we're all going to get it done today so we can hang out tomorrow. Here it is. Yeah. We've got our Zoom meeting. Check. We've got a journal to do. Your journal today is about the movie tomorrow. You have, remember that I told you yesterday that today we were going to kind of take a little break, do something a little bit different, and we were going to talk about the election that's happening this week, or next week, sorry. So I posted, if you remember, some of you did that, I'm just going to mute everybody just like glitches, Jonathan. There we go. We posted a video a couple weeks ago on a Friday of a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend named Wendy Mack, who was doing that drawing picture of the tiger. And a couple people did that. That extra credit went into your grade. It was enough to raise some A's to A pluses, and Hade, it raised your B plus to an A minus. So that was a good choice, Hade. So I posted another one for you. Same person, but in this one, she's talking about voting. So she's going to be talking about a lot of the same things that we talk about today in class. And then there's a little art project that you can do. It's just a painting, but you can use markers or crayons, or she always says if you don't have any colors, that's fine. But if you want to do it and turn it in, extra credit. If you don't want to do it and turn it in, not going to hurt your grade. It can only help. Okay, extra credit can only help.
Oh, so we don't have to do this?
See how it says optional?
Oh, okay.
You're welcome. You do have to do this math lesson that we're going to do today. We are going to start with math like normal, and then we're going to switch into our voting discussion. You do have a PE circuit to do today with Mr. Seaver. It is PE circuit 14. Remember that I'm putting the video and the reflection on the same assignment now. Okay, that seemed to work okay for you guys last time. Nobody's brain exploded. So I'm going to
Can
continue.
you do that with Harry Potter too?
I can't, Braxton, because it won't let me put the Google form quiz on the same thing as a YouTube video. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know. So you've got chapter 9 of Harry Potter to read. A lot of you were writing in your journals this morning that you're liking the third Harry Potter because it has some more bad guys in it. So I'm glad that you guys are liking book 3. Okay, so if you're counting, that's 4 things to turn in. A journal, math, PE, Harry Potter. If you want to watch that video with Wendy Mack and do that art thing and turn it in, that would be the 5th thing to do today. But again, that is optional, which means you do not have to do it, which I explained very clearly right here. This assignment is totally optional. You do not have to do it. Okay, but it will earn you some extra credit and you'll learn some more about voting. So up to you. Any questions about what we've got to get done today? Anybody confused? Anybody need any extra clarification? Okay, there are materials for you guys to pick up in the office. They were supposed to be picked up by yesterday. I know that Bentley doesn't have his. I know Michael doesn't have his. And I know Leo doesn't have his because they're sitting here on my desk. Who else doesn't have theirs yet? Because today's math is in that folder. So if you haven't picked up your materials yet, you're not going to be able to do today's math assignment until you pick it up. Does everybody understand? That's why it was supposed to get picked up yesterday and Monday. Or sorry, it's supposed to be picked up Monday and Tuesday. Today's Thursday. So 2 days later, if you still haven't picked it up, you got to get there and get it. Because you can't do today's homework until you get it. Okay, so I'm going to text Miss Gabby today after class to find out who hasn't picked it up. But in the meantime, Daniel's telling me he doesn't have his. Daniel, good news, you're at school. So you just need to get it from the office. Jose, you don't have yours. You need to walk over to school and get it. Okay, if you are Bentley or Leo or Michael, it's sitting here on my desk waiting for you to come pick it up. Okay. Anybody else who doesn't have it yet besides those 3 people, Daniel and Jose? Okay, Billy, you got to get over there and get it. That's why we were going Monday and Tuesday. Okay. You haven't got my message. You got to go get it. Anybody else?
I got mine yesterday.
I know. I got to kind of see you. I was in a boring meeting when you came over, Maddie. Everybody else already has theirs? Because I'm going to ask Miss Gabby. Let me know who's still there. Okay, we're good? So before we get started with that, I worry about some of our binders.
I forgot to text you, and then she
So glitchy. There she is. Maddie, you're back. Okay. I'm worried about some of our binders. So assuming that you are one of the people who has the new math, here's what I need you to do. I need you to go to the math section in your binder. And I need you to take the paper clip that was on your new math. Okay, so here's my new math that I got from school that Miss Tyner gave me, unless I'm a person who hasn't picked it up yet. And the first lesson that I see there is lesson 16. When I gave this to you at school, or when I sent this home with you in that little envelope, it had this lovely paper clip on the top. Does everybody see it? Yes? Okay. What I want you to do is in my binder, I have all this other math that we've done from module 1 and the beginning of module 2, okay? What I want you to do is to take that paper clip off of the new stuff and clip it on the old stuff. So now my old stuff is clipped together. Now, those of us who are organized, it's no problem. For those of us who aren't, we're just going to continue to be a mess. But for those of us who are organized, maybe this will help us out. So I've got all my old math here. Amy, you were in office hours that day. That's why your name's on there. Don't worry, you weren't in trouble. I clipped, using my paper clip, I clipped together all the old math so it'll stay together in one big chunk. I clipped it together. You know, you learn things as a teacher, and one thing I've learned is that fifth graders have a hard time with paper clips. Didn't think that was something you had to teach people, but apparently it is. If you can't figure out how to use your paper clip, phone a friend, ask a grown-up, have them help you, okay? And then I want you to take the new stuff, the stuff you've picked up from school, lesson 16, and I want you to put it on top. Okay, so all my new math is on the top. All my old math that I've already done, for better, for worse, good score, bad score, whatever happened, is going to be clipped together in my paper clip. Okay, I thought about just having you recycle it all, but some of us have stuff in there that we might want to get done when we want to raise our grades up a little bit, so I decided against it. So on top of all that, I have the new math. For those of you who have it, you've got lesson 16, 20, 21, 22, 23, 26, 28. You've got lots of good stuff here. But I want you to try to keep it separate from your old stuff. Okay? Hopefully 3/4 of us were able to pull that off. All right. So I'm going to leave that math right there. If you are unable to pick up this work today and you are trying to get lesson 16 done and you're like, but Miss Tyner, I don't have the page, so I can't do it. What I'm going to do for you lovely humans is I'm going to post this on Google Classroom. I'm going to post a digital copy of this on Google Classroom. What you're going to have to do is get a piece of paper and do these problems on the piece of paper. Okay? Unless you're able to get to school and pick it up today. Because tomorrow when we're all sitting here counting who's turned in what, nobody's going to accept the excuse of I didn't have it, because it's going to be on Google Classroom for you to look at. Okay? So if I am Jose, or if I am Bentley or Michael or Leo and I don't have a copy of this because I haven't picked up my papers yet, it's going to be posted for you on Google Classroom. Okay? What would be the best plan? Be to get to school and get it, because you're not going to want to write it all down. Okay? All right, so we've got important things to talk about today, like an election coming up on Tuesday. So let's get some math done so we can have an important conversation. Are we ready? Jose, great. I'm glad your mom's getting it. All right, so a lot of us have a challenge when it comes to taking notes. We realized this after our first math test, but some of us had it reinforced for us for this second math test. So when you open your math notebook today, like I say every day, we're going to turn to the next blank page. Not some random page in the back of your notebook. Oh, here's an empty one. I think I'll write here. No, the next blank page, so that you can find your information when you're trying to do your homework. Once you find that next blank page, we're going to put the date on it. I'm going to see if it's better if I turn the light off. I think it is. Once you find that next blank page, you're going to give that blank page a title and a date. Ashton, I'm talking to you. Are we ready? Here we go. We're going to write a title, dividing by powers of 10. All right, I'm going to put today's date on there, which is 10/29/2020. Almost Halloween. Could be a fabulous Halloween 2020 style. It's supposed to be a full moon. We get to set the clocks back an extra hour of Halloween. Man, if only we could actually go out and do fun things. All right. You are probably most definitely going to want a times table with you today while we do this math. So you're going to want to find one of those. I'm going to get mine up here on my internet page, because I've discovered that's the easiest way to show you guys a times table. So I'm going to get that going. Remember that yours is either on the back page of your journal or it's in your planner on page 5. Okay, but many, many, many of us need that to be able to do division. So I want you to make sure you've got it. you ready? Yes? Let's take some notes. Okay, so on your homework tonight, for those of us that have it, you're gonna see that it's asking you to do the same problem kind of all the way across the page. Let me show you what I mean. So let's write down this first example. Our first example is gonna be, it's gonna be 12,000 divided by 60. 12,000 divided by 60. Bentley, I need to see you taking notes. Personal invitation. All right. Now, some of us know how to do this already. Some of us can do it in our head. Most of us would mess up the zeros somehow. So let's make sure we've got a clear idea of what we're supposed to do. Valeria, your face is cracking me up right now. She's like, eh. Now, I could set this math problem up like a giant division problem and solve it the way that we've learned in 4th grade and we've kind of reviewed this year, but that's not what we're doing today. Today, we are trying to find a zeros trick to use for division. No, Daniel, I need you to take notes. So we've got a zeros trick for multiplication, right? Take the zeros off, multiply, put them back on. Most of us have got that down, right? But for division, it looks a little different. So here's what we're gonna do, okay? For division, today on your homework, you're gonna write these steps going down for me. You have a little box to put your math work in today, and your math is gonna go down the box like you see here, okay? So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna rewrite this going down the box, and it's gonna look like this. We are gonna say, okay, this is the same thing as 12,000 divided by 10 divided by 6. Okay, so what I did was I took my 6 and my 10, my 60, and I split it up to be 6 times 10. Everybody's okay with 6 times 10 is 60, right? I just separated that out. Yes? Yeah? Okay. And then I'm gonna say, okay, I know my zeros trick. I know dividing by 10 is gonna make it 10 times smaller. So this 0 is gonna kill off that 0. It's gonna make it 10 times smaller. Okay, everybody okay? I like it when zeros kill each other. It's violent and wonderful in my math problem. Okay, so now I'm gonna rewrite what's left. Now I've got 1,200 divided by 6. So my 10 made that 10 times smaller. It killed that 0 off. These guys are gone, dead to me. Okay. Now I'm going to take my zeros off of my 1,200, and that's going to give me my 12. I'm going to have 12 divided by 6. What is 12 divided by 6? It's on your times table if you don't know. 12 divided by 6. So remember, I'm looking at my 6's. How many times can 6 go into 12? Oh, there it is. How many times? Bada bing, 2. Okay, so I'm going to put my 2 down here, and then I've got to put my zeros back on. So my answer to this is gonna be 200. Okay, zeros trick for division. Multiplication's kind of easy. We take our zeros off, we shove them over there, we do the multiplication, and we put them back on. Division makes things smaller, so it makes sense that instead of combining all my zeros and adding them on the end of my answer, instead of that, I'm gonna be losing zeros. Okay, so let's try another one. We're gonna try another one. Okay, if that was a little clunky for you, don't you worry one little bit. We're gonna make it nice and smooth. So number 2, what if I gave you the same problem, but instead of dividing by 60, we divided it by 600? Okay, how would this look different? What would look different in my next line of math, this red line? What would look different down here? Leo's not here. Bentley, what would look different on my next line? If I was dividing by 600 instead of 60, what would I have to do differently? I'm gonna help you, Bentley. Instead of having a 10, I would have a... Valeria, can you bail him out? Valeria, oh, there she is. So instead of 60, 60 became 10 and 6. What is 600 going to become, Valeria?
A 60.
No, it's going to become a 100 and a 6. Okay, it's going to become a 100 and a 6. Do you guys see a pattern there? So my 60 became a 10 and a 6. And my 600 became a 100 and a 6. Does everybody kind of see the pattern? We're going to get smoother. It's going to get less clunky as we go. Don't worry, Valeria Bentley, you're our first victims today. So in this one, instead of killing off 1 0, how many zeros can I get rid of? Jonathan's telling me 2. Montserrat's telling me 2. I've got other people just staring at me like I've got zombies crawling out of my ears. So how many zeros are we going to kill this time? 2. I know that because I've got 100 here. So I'm going to make my number 100 times smaller, which you guys know, hopefully, means taking off 2 zeros. Okay. Now I've still got 12 divided by 6. Okay, so I'm going to write this down. I've got 120 divided by 6. I'm going to ignore my 0 for a second, and I've got 12 divided by 6. 12 divided by 6. How many 6s can go into 12? It's the same problem we just did. If I made one group of 6, that'd be 6. If I made 2 groups of 6, that'd be 12. So my answer is still 2. But how many zeros are going to go on this one? I see Montserrat and Jonathan again. Everybody else is zombie ears. How many zeros are going to go on this one? Look at it. How many are left? Just
0.
one sad little 0. There it is. One little 0 is going to go on there. Okay, let's try again so we can get with the pattern. You guys are doing a great job. Don't give up. Here we go. Number 3. You should have all these examples written in your notes. Okay, let's see if I can get some action down here. Okay, Jose and Ashley, I need to know you're with us here, please. Okay. All right, Sarah's gonna make up a new one. Here it is. It's gonna be 28,000 divided by 700. Okay, we're gonna do no math at all. No math is happening. All we're gonna do is we're gonna rewrite this and take out our power of 10. Okay, so down below here, I'm gonna rewrite exactly what I had right here. I've still got 28,000, but I wanna break my 700 up into a number and a power of 10. Can anybody tell me what it would be? How would I rewrite 700? Look up at the pattern that we have here. This is what my 60 became, and this is what my 600 became. So what would my 700 become? Amara, what would I get down there?
100 and then a 7.
100 divided by 7. So I'm taking out that power of 10 and I'm breaking it apart from my number, which is 7. Okay, now comes the time to kill zeros. How many zeros can I kill? Tell me. How many zeros can I kill? How many zeros? Come on, gaining fingers. I'm gaining fingers.
2.
Gaining fingers, excellent. I've got 2 zeros on my 100 and they're gonna kill off these 2. Wow. Now I'm gonna rewrite what I've got left. What I've got left is 280 divided by 7. See, because I killed off those 2 zeros, which left me with 280. My 100's gone because it sacrificed itself in killing the zeros, and that leaves me with my 7. Okay, I'm going to ignore my 0 for a second, and I'm going to look at 28 divided by 7. I'm going to look at my 7s. I'm going to see how many 7s can go into 28, and right there I see that I can do 4. All of these are going to be perfect fits today, you guys. Okay, so my answer is going to be 4, and how many zeros am I going to have to add back on? How many zeros did I put off in the corner? How many zeros? How many zeros? How many zeros? How many zeros? I see 1s and 2s, more 1s than 2s, which is great because how many zeros do I have? Just have 1 little 0 left. My answer is going to be 40. Okay, same math fact. Here you go. Example number 4. I'm going to do 28,000 But this time, I want you to divide it by 7,000. Okay, so what am I going to write in my first line down there? What am I going to write in red? Jose, can you tell me? What am I going to write down there, Jose?
Um, 28,000 divided by 1,000
Good job. Divided by
7.
You got it. So I just took my 7,000 and I pulled out a power of 10, which is my 1,000, and I put my 7 separately. Okay, next victim, Montserrat. How many zeros are going to get killed this time?
3.
3. I can know it's 3 because I've got 3 on my 1,000, so I'm going to take off 3 zeros. Okay, now next to that, underneath that, I'm going to rewrite what's left. 28 divided by 7. Well, now this is like a 3rd grade math fact right here. 28 divided by 7. We just looked that up. What is it?
28? No, 4.
4. Thanks, Brandon. My answer is going to be 4. How many zeros am I going to put back on? 0.
None.
I have no zeros. So it's just going to be 4. That was fancy. All right, we're getting more hip with the system here. Okay, let's try another one. You ready? Yeah? Yeah. Okay, here we go. We are going to look at number 5. This time I'm going to make this one up. It's going to be fabulous. 5 is going to say, 5 is going to say 48. And I'm going to put 4 zeros on it. I can count. I'm going to put 4 zeros on that one.
We can't see.
What do you mean you can't see?
Like, you're,
I can
yeah.
see it.
I could only see the top of the numbers.
I don't know what to tell you, Braxton. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. I'm going to write, so it's not going to be 48,000. It's going to be 480,000. And we're going to divide that by 120. Okay, this one's a little bit weirder. What are we going to write for this one? What am I going to write in red for this one? Who's got it? Who's got it? Don't make the sticks choose. Maddie, let's see if we can hear you now. Tell me, Maddie.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
You would write 48,000
480,000, but I'll take it.
divided by 100 and then divided.
Careful. How many zeros are on that?
There's only 1. So,
So
divided by 10.
There we go. Divided by 10. Divided by
20.
Oh, if
12?
12. Who was a trickster? That one was a trickster. All right, we got it. We got it. Let's see what the next line would say. What would it say in green? Ashton, what would it say in green? How many zeros can I kill off, Ashton? You gotta unmute for us to be able to hear you, Ashton. There you go. How many zeros can I kill, Ashton? Aaliyah, how many zeros am I going to kill?
1.
1. I've got 1 0 here, so I'm going to kill off 1 0 there. Okay, I wasn't very excited this time. All right, I'm going to rewrite what I've got. Now I've got 48000 divided by 12. Okay, we're doing okay? Everybody's kind of getting our pattern here. And this one's a little funky because it had a 12 on the front. All right, let's see. Jonathan, how many times can 12 go into 48?
4 times.
4 times. Let's see. So if I look at my 12s and I'm trying to figure out how many groups make 48, there I see it. And it is 4. He is exactly right. So I'm going to write 4. And now how many zeros do I have to put on the end?
3.
Fingers telling me 3. I see 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put 3 zeros on there. 1, 2, 3. And there we go. All right. So my answer is going to be 4,000. So you guys, this division is really just math facts and dealing with zeros. As long as you can look up the math fact on your times table, and as long as you can cross off the zeros correctly, this is going to be an easy one. Okay, Brandon, I see your hand. What's your question, honey?
Are we gonna do the backside too?
We are going to do the backside. We're going to talk about it though before we're done today. Okay, we'll take some notes on those word problems. Okay, Don't you worry. They're just as easy as just hiding in a word problem. All right, let's try 2,700,000. Okay, so make sure you have the right number of zeros on there. I got 5 on this one. 2,700,000 divided by 900. Okay, got lots of zeros going on here. Who thinks they could tell me what would happen on the red line? What's going to happen first? I have to separate my 9 from my powers of 10. What's going to go down there? Only Maddie's hand. I've already talked to her. Daniel, what's going to go down on that next line? Daniel, I know you have internet because you're at school and I can see people behind you moving. So I need you to speak words. Are you typing? Type faster. We're all sitting here waiting. We have things to do today. Then type the answer, Daniel. $90 is not what we need to write here, no. It must have been a nice 2-week vacation, Daniel. Billy, what am I gonna write down here? That big number. Okay, good job, Billy. And then divided by what?
Divided by.
You got it, you got it, you got it. Take that 900. What am I gonna do?
10.
How many zeros do you see?
2.
Okay, so I wanna have 2 zeros, so that'd be 100. And then divided by?
9.
Good job. All right, next line. Maddie, how many zeros can I kill off?
You can kill off 2 zeros.
I can kill off 2 zeros. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, I'm going to rewrite it. I've got 3 zeros left. 2, 7, 1, 2, 3, divided by 9. Okay, so now I need to look up what is 27 divided by 9. Some of us know because we know our math facts. Some of us need to look it up. So let's look it up. How many 9s can go into 27? I see 3. Okay, so I'm going to say 3. And my last victim, Natalie, how many zeros are left for me to put on there, Natalie? There she is. How many zeros are left over?
2.
Oh, girl, count them. How many zeros are left? 1, 2, 3. How many zeros am I going to put on there?
3.
3. All right. We're going to practice this on our whiteboards for another like 6 minutes. And then we're moving on. Okay. So I need your whiteboard out so I can see what you're doing. You're going to hold it up to me and show me what you've got. Grab mine. Between map testing and our math test, it's been a while since we've learned new math. Here we go. Yeah, Maddie.
What happens to the 1?
What happens to the 1? Remember when we divide by a power of 10, it just, the 1 kind of is irrelevant. Because dividing by 1 is just leaves the number itself. 7 divided by 1 is 7. 8 divided by 1 is 8. 7,000 divided by 1 is 7,000. All right, hopefully you've got your whiteboard because you're going to need to hold it up for me. If you are a person who asked me for a whiteboard, hold on, we got glitchy there. You back? If you were a person who asked me for a whiteboard, remember that I didn't have any more sheet protectors to make more whiteboards out of. So if you needed one and I wasn't able to make you one, you can ask Miss Gabby for one. When you pick up your stuff, you can also use, as Jonathan has, anything laminated. Yes, your dividers from your binder will work. All right, are we ready? Okay, here we go. All right, example number 1 on the whiteboard is going to be 24,000 divided by 600. 24,000 divided by 600. Are we ready? Okay, I'm going to give you a head start. We're going to look at it together. Let's see how far you can get on your own without messing up. No messing up. We'll sell you on eBay.
Rosanna,
Mike, Jonathan,
I'm done.
good. Are you ready yet? Yes. Okay. Whatever you've got, however far you made it in that amount of time, I'm going to give you 30 more seconds and I want you to hold it up for me. However far you made it, I don't care if it's done or not. I just need to see it. Okay, 30 more seconds so I can see how we're doing. Are you ready? All right, ready, steady. Let me see how far you got. Let me see what we've got. Let me see. Ooh, people who are holding it up are looking good. Wyatt, I like that you didn't quite finish it, but I can see you were about to get there. Aaliyah, perfect. Amy, same thing. I can see you crossing off those zeros just perfectly. That is fabulous. Polo, you were almost there. Good job, Polo. Braxton's really hoping you guys are going to help him out.
I had to find my whiteboard.
Likely story. Valeria, that looks great. Good job, you guys. All right, let's talk this through. Okay, here we go.
I couldn't finish this.
Christian, you're my first victim. Christian, can you tell me what the next line of your math looks like? What does the next line? Yes, Cassidy, go ahead. Daniel, can we hear you? Okay. Christian, we'll work on it later, Miss Cassidy. Christian, can you tell me what your next line says?
24,000 divided by 100 divided by 6.
Good job. So Christian separated that power of 10 from the 6 so we can do some quick cheater style math. All right, my next victim is Hade. Hade, what happens next? My next victim's Wyatt. Wyatt, be ready. Oh, I know. I asked you to zoom in.
Yeah.
Sorry, Grafton. Hade, how many zeros can I kill off?
2.
2, she says. Let's see if, closer. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna just keep going. We're gonna kill off 2 zeros. Very nice. Wyatt, what did you have after you killed off 2 zeros? Wyatt, you alive?
140 divided by 6.
240 divided by 6. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to ignore my 0 for a second, and I'm going to do 24 divided by 6. Michael, what is 24 divided by 6? Michael, what is 24 divided by 6?
I say it.
Nope, we're just gonna let Michael unmute himself and decide what 24 divided by 6 is, or I'm gonna mark him absent. Because
It's really easy. You can just memorize it in your head.
most people, yes. I am sure Michael knows too, but the point is he's not listening to me. Okay, Michael, I need you to actually be there if you're gonna be there. Amy, what's 24 divided by 6? What'd you get, Amy?
4.
4, she says. Okay, so if I ignore my 0 for a second, I've got 4. Then I got to put my 0 back on, and my answer is 4. You guys did a really good job when you're holding up your whiteboards. Fabulous work. We're going to try one more. Then we're going to look at our homework, and we'll be done with math for today. Great work. All right, let's try this next one. It's going to be 3,600,000. So that's 5 zeros on my number. Divided by 6,000. Okay, here you go, one line at a time. Trying it by yourself, see how far you can get. I found Michael, he's at my front door. You do that math problem.
All done.
Got it, Braxton? Right, if you're still going, I'm giving you 30 more seconds.
Done.
Brandon, you don't have to tell me you're done. You're not a cake. Things I usually talk about in real life. Ding. How you doing, Jose? Oh, you're answering me. I have people sending me the answer in the chat. If you want to tell me what your answer was in the chat, you can tell me. Everyone's like, you guys are a bunch of goofballs today. You got it. You guys are doing great. Job. All right, let's take a look at it. Brandon, can you tell me what my next line of math should say? What should I have next?
Put
This big number.
3 million, the big number, I guess.
Okay.
And divided by 1,000,
Great.
divided by 6.
Great work. All right, Brandon. Good work. Amara, can you tell me what I should have next? What does your next line of math say?
3,600 divided by 6.
So, oh, sorry, Amara, let me clarify. Hold on. So you killed off 2 zeros, and so you rewrote 36. Oh, sorry, 3 zeros. You were right. 3,600 divided by 6, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And Braxton, what happens next? What does my next line of math say?
The next line is 3,600 divided by 6.
I got that, Braxton. See?
Oh yeah, and
So I'm going to ignore my 2 zeros, and I've got 36 divided by 6.
it is 6. I mean, it's 6.
And then how many zeros go on?
3. I mean 2.
Boom, boom, bada bing. We're good?
Mhm.
Everybody's good? Everybody's feeling confident? You guys seem jazzed about that. All right.
Can we do more?
Braxton, I want to take a look at our homework real quick, and then you can do a bunch on your homework, okay? All right, I'm going to move my whiteboard. If you have lesson 16 homework, okay, I want you to get it out. If you don't have it because you haven't picked it up yet, you're going to want to write some notes probably in your math notebook for you to be able to use on your homework tonight.
My mom
Okay?
just picked it up like 10 minutes ago.
Michael just picked his up too instead of actually watching the math lesson. was, at least he has it now. We're going with that. All right. So the top part of our homework today looks exactly like what we were just doing. The first one is done for you, just like we did in our notes, in case you had a complete and utter brain fart. They didn't kill off the zeros the same way we did. That's kind of my favorite part. So you could add that on if you wanted. Top part, nice and easy. Okay, so then we've got a word problem. It says a stadium holds 50,000 people. The stadium is divided into 25 different seating sections. How many seats are in each section? Now, if you have this page, I want you staying with me and doing this math with me. If you don't have this page, you're going to want to write in your math notes. You're going to want to put down there number 2 from my homework, and you're going to want to write down what we're doing so you can copy it onto there. Okay. All right, so here we go. It's pretty safe to say this is a division problem, since that's what we've been doing for the whole page, right? So we're going to have the division problem, 50,000. I'm going to make sure I have the right number of zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, because there's a lot of zeros happening. Divided into 250 sections. So the problem's asking me how many seats are in each section. Now this one's a little tricky because it's like the one that Maddie was trying to tackle for us here, where instead of having just one number in that divisor, there are two. There's a 2-digit number. Instead of just being a 7 or a 9 or a 6, on the one that I asked Maddie to try to do was a little harder because it was a 12. But all the rules still say the same. We're still going to do all the same stuff. So on this one, anybody think they could tell me what I should write for this next line? Montserrat, I see you. What do you want me to write here?
50,000 divided by 10 divided by 25.
Got it. So it's tricky because it's a hundreds number, but there's only 1 0, so I can only divide it by 10. Okay? Divided by 25, she says. All right, let's keep going. I'm going to kill off 1 0. I'm going to rewrite what I've got left, which is 5,000 divided by 25. Now, this one's a little tricky too, because it's not a math fact. It's a division fact that you probably know because you know money, but for some of us, that's hard. So let's look at it. I'm going to take this 50 and divide it by 25. So I'm going to ignore 2 zeros. Now, what is 50 divided by 25? Some of us know, some of us don't. That's okay for today. Valeria, what is it? 50 divided by 25.
5.
Close. How many 25s do I need to make 50?
2.
Darth Vader spoke to you from beyond the grave there. So we've got 2, and then I'm going to have to put my 2 zeros back on. Okay, that one's a little tricky because it wasn't a math fact. So I wanted to make sure we talked about that one. I'm going to need a sentence here. My victim is Polo. Polo, what's my sentence going to be? Here's the question. How many seats are in each section? And our answer is 200. So what am I going to write, Polo?
There was 200 seats.
There were 200 seats. How could I finish it?
In each section.
Great job, Polo. In each section. Look at that. You've got one done. That was exciting. Phew. All right. I wanted to make sure we did that one because every year everyone's like, wait, what? All right. Let's take a look at the back because there's 2 more word problems on the back. Okay. They're not hard, but let's just take a look at them because word problems make us scared. Okay. Are we ready?
No, yeah.
Yes, no, maybe so, kind of halfway, most of the way. Okay. All right, so now we're on the back. And it says, over the course of a year, a tractor trailer commutes 160,000 miles across America. Okay. Assuming a trucker changes his tires every 40,000 miles, and then he starts with a brand new set of tires, how many sets of tires will he use in a year? Okay, pretty safe to assume this is division since the whole page has been division, but let's set up the math problem. Okay, so we've got this many miles, 160,000 miles, and every 40,000 miles, he gets new tires. I'm going to make sure I have the right number of zeros. I see 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm all good. From here on out, you should be okay. Okay, we're just going to set that guy up. I do know my sentence is going to be he will use blank sets of tires in a year. Okay? I know you guys write slower than me, so I'm going to wait.
So whatever the last number is that like we hit will be sets he's gonna use.
Yep, that's the answer. Right, are you ready? I'm ready. If the trucker changes the oil every 10,000 miles, how many times will he change the oil in a year? So now we've got to do these miles divided by 10,000. So that's going to be a different math problem. Divided by 10,000. We make sure I have the right number of zeros. It should be 4 on each one. Okay, so that's my math problem for B. And my sentence is going to look similar. How many times will he change the oil? He will change the oil blank times in a. All right. While you are finishing copying that down, this man, I'm just giggling along with you. If you are finished copying that down, I need you to make sure you don't lose it so that you can actually get your homework done for today. If your family has not picked up your homework yet today, remember that I am going to post this to Google Classroom. You'll just have to do it on a piece of paper and turn it in. Okay, not having that paper is not an excuse. You've had 4 days to pick it up. Okay, if you don't have it yet, you got to get over there and get it. If you're Leo or Bentley, you're sitting at my house, so I know you don't have it.
Should I see the other side again? I couldn't finish writing it.
See if Elmo will refocus. Probably not. Okay.
All right.
All right. We're good? Yes?
Yep.
Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take that piece of paper. I want you to put it in your binder, put it away. I know the temptation is to sit here and bust it out and not listen to what Miss Hannah's talking about and just get that math done so I can turn it in. But I need your attention. So put that off to the side, get it put away so it's not a distraction to you. I'm going to assume that glitch is you. Put that away so that your full attention can be on our discussion. Okay, I'm going to stop my share so I can see your beautiful faces more clearly. All right, math check. If you would like to come and do that with me today in office hours, you are welcome to do that. If you are a person who needs to make corrections to your math test, the tricky thing is that now we've got homework to do. So if you're a person who wants to make corrections to your math test, you can log on today and kind of see what's going on. Maybe people will be done quickly and we can do some math test work. But tomorrow would be the best day to log on to try to fix that math test because tomorrow's Friday. You won't have math homework that you have to do during office hours. So that would be a good time to try to fix up a math test. Okay. All right. Are you ready? Because I'm very excited to talk to you about elections. Yes? Okay. So I made you a little itty bitty PowerPoint that hopefully you enjoy. But I wanted to talk with you guys today about the election that is happening next week on Tuesday. Probably you have seen commercials on TV about Prop 21. Yeah, vote no, vote yes, vote maybe, vote, right? You hear all those commercials. Brandon, I need your attention this way, buddy. So you've seen all those commercials on TV, right? And you guys all know, I'm sure, that the big election that is happening on Tuesday is the election for president. Right? Who are the two main people who are running for president? Who is it?
Joe Biden and Donald Trump.
Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Okay. So what I want to make very clear during this discussion, you guys, is that I am not going to talk to you about whether I think Joe Biden should win or whether I think Donald Trump should win. And you are going to do the same. Whatever your family has decided in that election, that is your family's business, not to be shared with us right now. So this is not a discussion about whether Joe Biden or Donald Trump should win the election. That is not what I'm going to talk to you about. And the reason for that is that is not my job. It's not my job to tell you who people should vote for. Your family gets to make that decision about who they want to vote for. But one thing that I do want to tell you, you guys, is that when you grow up and you turn 18 and you get to vote in an election, why I need your attention this way, and you get to vote in an election, it's really important that you make the decision of who you're going to vote for on your own. You don't want to make that decision because that's what your mom says. You don't want to make that decision because that's what somebody's flag or sign in their yard says. You want to make a decision about who you're going to vote for president based on what that person thinks and whether or not what they think matches up with what you think. Okay? So when you grow up and you get to vote for president, you want to be really careful not to listen to what somebody posts on Facebook or what somebody tells you on Instagram or any of that stuff. You want to think for yourself. Jonathan, I'm going to ask for your attention, and then I'm going to text your daddy to come and take whatever you're doing that's not listening to me. Put it away. Whatever it is, put it away. I don't care if it's a piece of plastic or whatever it is. So you have to make those decisions for yourself. And that's a really tricky thing to do. Really tricky thing to do. And we are not going to worry today about who we think should win in this election. What we're going to talk about today is why it's important to vote when you grow up and you have the chance to do that. Okay? So I'm going to show you some information. And if we were in class, you guys, this conversation would probably take like 3 hours because you would ask me 87.5 million questions about how this works. And I hope that you will keep us talking and interested in this for a good 45 minutes, even though we're on Zoom. So if you want to ask me something, raise your hand. If you want to tell me something, put it in the chat. If you want to ask a question, unmute and ask it, please. Because one of my favorite things every 4 years is getting to talk to you guys about the election. And I almost just didn't do it with you this year because I just made me so sad to try to do it on Zoom. So I want you to cheer me up and still have a good conversation with me about this, even though we're stuck in little boxes on a screen, okay? So I need your attention here because this is important stuff. Probably more important than anything else we've talked about this year is this, because this is real life. So I made you a little PowerPoint. Here it is. It's not real long, but I did think that probably getting to look at some pictures, and if you guys have a question that I don't have a picture of, we'll look it up online. We will find the answer, okay? Because I want to make sure that we talk about all the things you want to talk about with this too. All right, so voting in the United States. Now, we are currently learning about There we go. We are currently learning about the very beginning of America's history. We learned about who was already living here, right? We learned about the Cliff Dwellers specifically, but you guys know that there are Native Americans living here, okay? That this is their home. They've lived here for a long time. But then Columbus comes, right? And we're going to talk more about that. Where did he get to? Did he really discover what? All that stuff. But the point is that in the 1400s was when people came from Europe to what is now the United States. Okay, and they bumbled around for a while. You've learned about the Pilgrims, right? You learned about all those stories from when you were little, right? And we get to learn this year about one of my favorite parts of American history, which is the Revolutionary War. And we are going to spend a lot of time learning about the Revolutionary War because it's super interesting. But the big fact is that when the Revolutionary War was over, we became our own country. Ta-da! That was in 1776. Now, the cool thing about becoming our own country is now we're in charge. We get to do stuff how we want to do it. The really tough part was, okay, yeah, but how do we want to do it? They didn't know. They didn't know how they wanted to set up the country. But one thing they did know was that they wanted people to be able to pick who was in charge. Okay? The reason for that was in England, which is where we came from, which is why we speak, wait for it, English. There was a king. Now, the king was the king for his entire life. Some of you have watched movies about like the olden times, medieval times. You know, there's lots of like murder plots to kill the king and take over and yada, 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 right? And that's because if you didn't kill him, he was going to be king until he died. Does that make sense? Now, if you liked him and you thought he was a good king, cool. He's going to be king forever. But what if you didn't like him? If you didn't like the king, Wyatt says, I'm going to take him out, right? So if I don't like the king, I'm stuck with him forever. So that kind of makes sense that when they came here and they fought the war and they won and they became their own country, it makes sense that then they were like, you know what? We're not having it like that anymore. People are going to get to pick. Okay, so on your slide here, it says, America was founded as a democracy, which means we get to vote for who is in charge. Our founders came from England, where there was a king who was king until he died. Now, when they got here, they decided to set things up very differently. Not only did they decide that we get to vote for who should be president, but we also decided that a president can only be president for 4 years. You understand why they would want it that way, right? Because they were like, that stupid king, I want him out of here, right? Hold on, I'm reading. Jose says he's going to take out the king for us, you guys. So just trust Jose. He's got this. Daniel, why did they have the war? They had the war because when we first came here, England was still in charge of us. We were still citizens of England. And we didn't want to be. We wanted to be our own country. But England didn't want to let us go. So we had to fight against England to get our own country to be free. And we won. We'll talk a lot about it. It's a really cool war to study. Any other questions so far? Any other thoughts? Because normally we would stop about 25 times and talk about this in class. Jonathan? Jonathan says, how long was the war? It was 8 years, Jonathan, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. It was a long war. Went on.
What? That's a long time.
Yeah, it was a long time. And we'll talk about how it went because it didn't look like war looks like now. Our soldiers, the American soldiers, they did not have the things that they needed. And I don't mean they didn't have like the weapons that they needed. I mean, they didn't have shoes that they needed. They didn't have coats that they needed. And they were fighting on the East Coast of the United States, like New York and Pennsylvania, where there's snow and it's cold. And there are stories actually of them leaving trails of blood in the snow because their feet were so cold that they were bleeding on the snow. Isn't that gross? So part of the reason that it's really, really important that when you grow up, you vote is because people fought really hard for you to be able to do it. And that's important to know. Jonathan, was that you?
Yeah.
What was your question?
Did they use like the old rifles with like the knives on top and did they have like cavalry with the swords and cannons?
Yep. So we'll talk about their weapons when we learn about the Revolutionary War, Jonathan. But you guys, their guns were so bad that they didn't, when they were firing at the enemy, they weren't aiming for a person. They were just like pointing in the direction of the enemy and hoping that maybe their bullet hit somebody. We'll talk about why and all those details when we learn about this war. But a lot of the time, Jonathan is right. A lot of the time it ended up with them actually sword fighting because they had bayonets, the weapons that had the sword tip on the end of their gun. So they would kind of fire their guns until they gave up, and then they would end up fighting each other with the
Knife. It's
sword
called
on the
a
end.
knife on the
Yeah.
on the tip.
I mean, that's like not a cool way to have to fight.
Simon,
Right?
in case the bayonet broke,
Attention, please. I'm glad you're into it, Wyatt, but I need your attention. Yes, Jonathan, what were you asking me?
in case the bayonet broke, do they have like swords like on the waist too?
I'm sure they had like knives and things, Jonathan. I'm not sure about swords. Maybe. I don't know that. We would have to look at some pictures.
Yeah, because that's what I really.
Okay, so in the United States, a president, as it's the way that it's written now in the Constitution, which is the rules of our country, the president is elected for 4 years, and then they can serve a second 4 years if people vote for them to do that. World War II, Daniel, wasn't until the 1940s, much later, 200 years later. So I'm going to stop my share again so you can see each other and talk a little bit. So before Donald Trump was president, we had Barack Obama as president. And Barack Obama is one of those examples. He won the election in 2008, and then he won the election again in 2012. So he was able to be president for 4 years twice. Now, he couldn't run again in 2016 because you can only be president for 2 4-year terms. So that's a total of 8 years. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. So, well, Maddie, what's Maddie, was that you? Go ahead.
How many times? Yeah. How many times can you run for president?
How many times?
So, like, if you run and you don't get it.
I think you can run for president as many times as you want, Maddie.
Oh, okay.
Good question. Okay, so my next slide here talks about who could vote. Now, this is important, and I want you to make sure that you're being respectful of your classmates while we have this discussion. Because when we said, yeah, everybody's going to get to vote and pick the president in 1776, when everybody said that, you want to say hi, Mr. Michael? Mr. Michael stopped by my house to make a delivery for Rory. You want to tell him hi? There he is.
What's up, you guys?
We're learning about the election next week.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Fun stuff.
Yes,
Interesting.
we're into it.
Well, I'll let you guys get to it. Have a good Thursday.
You tell them Happy Halloween?
Happy Halloween,
I
right?
have to unmute. There they are.
Happy Halloween.
All right, so I want you, before we have this next part of the conversation, to make sure that you're very respectful of your classmates for a minute, okay? Because when...
You're sharing us.
Oh, did you like seeing each other?
How dare you, Maddie?
There you go. Sometimes I click too fast and it hasn't loaded the right screen. Is that right now?
Yes.
So when the founders of our country wrote out the rules and they said, everybody's going to get to vote, we're going to get to pick presidents, it didn't actually mean everybody. What it actually meant was that, first of all, you had to be a boy. Second of all, you had to be white. And third of all, you had to be rich. So sometimes when I have this conversation, boys, you're a little bit like, yeah, we got to vote. But I want you to be very thoughtful of your friends and think, well, if anybody in our class is probably with it enough to know what's going on, it might be Valeria, right? Valeria is a really intelligent kid who works hard. She pays attention. If anybody's going to vote for president, maybe I would say Valeria. Well, she couldn't have voted because she's a girl. And she couldn't have voted because she's brown. And she couldn't have voted because she's not rich. So she would have 3 strikes against her. And gentlemen, even those of you in our class who are boys, many of us are not white. And even those of us who are white, we are not rich. So pretty much everybody in our class, if we had lived during 1776, we would not have been able to vote. So it sounds good. It was like, yeah, everybody's going to get to vote. But when you really boil it down, society at the time didn't believe that everybody should vote. And that's really important because it took until 1870. You guys see that date? That's 104 years later for African Americans to get to vote. And that was still only boys. And it took until 1920, you guys, that's 100 years ago. Only 100 years ago, which sounds like a long time, but my grandma was born in 1919. My grandma. That's not that long ago. It took until 1920 for girls to be able to vote. Now, we're going to spend a lot of time this year talking about why that was. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about how did we start as a country that only let white rich boys vote, and how did we get to where we are now, where equality is coming, right? We're going to spend a lot of time talking about that this year. If the election happened in May, you guys would know so much more. But I can't let our election go by without giving you just a little tidbit of information. So, ladies, as well as my brown friends of whatever country your family comes from, it is especially important that you get to vote, because people fought really hard for you to be able to do it. Really, really hard. You see these ladies? Look at these ladies in this picture. You see them in their fancy dresses and their hats? They're out there hooting and hollering so that 100 years later, I could vote. Okay, and that's important because they didn't stand out there and hoot and holler just for them. They did it for everybody. Okay, so it's really important. Okay. All right, our next question, next slide, is talking about something that's really confusing. And that is the Electoral College. Now, there are a lot of adults in the United States that don't understand the Electoral College, but this is what's going to decide the vote next week. So I want you to pay attention so that you know what they're talking about next week when you see this on TV, okay? So, the Electoral College is a system where different states are worth different points. Okay, now the points are based on how many people live in that state. So if you look at California, we are the granddaddy, most exciting state to win because we have a lot of people who live in our state. So we are worth 55 points. Now those points are actually people, which gets a little confusing. So we're going to just call them Electoral College votes for right now, okay? Now, if you look at Montana, you see Montana up here? Now, if we were in real school, you would know all these states. Wyatt, sit down. Thank you. If you look at Montana, it's almost the same size as California. Does everybody see that? Like if I kind of like cut Montana up and like glued it back together in pieces and stuff, it would be almost the same size as California, right? Does everybody see that? But how many points is Montana worth? 3, right? 3. And how many are we worth?
55.
55. And the reason for that is there are a lot more people that live in California than live in Montana. Okay, does that make sense? Just more people, right? We've got Los Angeles, San Francisco, all these big cities. And Montana doesn't have as many big cities. We don't have as many people. Make sense? You with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, Maddie, I'm going to mute you again because I think you're my feedback there. There we go. So the Electoral College system was created way back in 1776 when our country was first made. And it was made for a lot of reasons that made sense. No, there's not only 3 people, Wyatt. They just get 3 votes. Just like there aren't only 55 people in California. I love you, Wyatt. So they made this system way back in 1776 for a lot of different reasons. And one of the main reasons was back in 1776, they were worried that people might not have all the information that they needed to vote. That was kind of one of the big reasons because they didn't have the internet and they didn't have the ways of spreading information that we have now. And so they made this system because they thought that maybe we should set up a system where not everybody just votes. If we were in class and we were voting for, do you want to eat popcorn or eat sandwiches? We would just all make our vote and we would count up our votes, right? But they decided at the time that maybe that wasn't the best way to do it. And the reason for that was First of all, it would have been really hard back then to count all the votes. How am I going to get all those pieces of paper in one place to count them? Back then, that would have been really hard. So they came up with this system where different states were worth different points. So what they did was they would take all the votes in California and they would look to see who wins in California. And whoever wins in California gets those points. Then they would take all the votes in Montana. They would see who won in Montana, and whoever wins in Montana gets those points. Does this kind of make sense? Yeah, you're with me? Okay. So this is how the Electoral College works, and it still works this way now. Some people say that the electoral college is no longer necessary. They say, well, we can count all the votes now, and we can get information to everybody now. So why don't we just use what's called the popular vote? The popular vote is whoever Braxton votes for, that vote goes into a big count. Whoever Aaliyah votes for, that vote goes into a big count. Doesn't matter if she lives in California or if she lives in Texas or if she lives in Alaska, doesn't matter. Just means whoever gets the most votes wins. That's called the popular vote. But as of right now, our country still uses the Electoral College system, okay? Now, I may have a little funny video for you. It's like a little cartoon that talks about the Electoral College. So I'm going to click on it and play it for you, and then we'll talk some more about that, okay? So here you go. Hopefully it works. Cross your fingers. You see it? Can you hear it? You hear music? Okay.
Today, class, is the day you get to vote for class pet. Buttons the bunny. And Gordon the llama. Now, you choose your class pet today by electoral vote, just like the President of the United States is chosen.
Oh, I love the electoral vote.
Tommy, is there a problem?
No, Mrs. Snodgrass. I was just going to explain the electoral vote to these guys.
I'll do the explaining, Tommy. Thank you. Now, there are 3 groups of discs in the class. Each group will have one electoral vote. The popular vote, or individual votes from each group, will determine which animal gets that group's electoral vote. The animal with the most electoral votes, not popular votes, wins.
You see, in the electoral vote for the president, each state and the District of Columbia has a set number of electoral votes. The number of electoral votes a state has is determined by the number of elected officials representing that state in Congress. Each state always has 2 senators, but the number of officials in the House of Representatives varies from state to state. The larger a state's population, the more representatives it has in the House. The more representatives a state has, the more electoral votes it has. With the exception of Maine and Nebraska, the outcome of the popular vote in each state and the district.
So the numbers on this map are a little bit different because, like, we just looked at it and we had 55, right? Because when the population in a state changes, the number of votes that state has changes. Okay, so this is just from a couple of years ago, okay? But same basic idea. Are you guys laughing at this silly video? I hope you are.
Of Columbia determines which candidate will get all that state's electoral votes. It's winner take all.
Tommy, do you have something to share with the class?
No, Mrs. Snodgrass.
All right then. Is everyone ready to vote?
Uh-huh.
Okay. All those for buttons. All those for Gordon.
Yeah. electoral vote. The individual votes determine who each state votes for, but the state's votes determine the winner. 3 U.S. presidents, Rutherford B. Hayes, Benjamin Harrison, and George W. Bush, lost the popular vote, but won the Electoral College vote.
That's it, Tommy. Since you're so energetic, perhaps you'd like to be the first to clean Gordon's pen.
Maybe I should have thought about my vote a little more.
All right. So let me stop that YouTube video. I hope that was funny. I tried to find something I thought 10-year-olds would think was funny. So what they were talking about there is something really interesting, and it's only happened a couple of times in history where, hold on guys, let me find it, there it is, where, it was kind of weird, you're welcome, Jose, where the same person does not win the popular vote that wins the Electoral College vote. And the reason for that is our country is pretty divided right now about whether we are voting for one person or the other. Now, go to my next slide for you. Here you go. So last election, which was in 2016, which was when Donald Trump won, something very interesting happened, which had last happened in the year 2000. In the year 2000, President Bush and Al Gore were running to be president. And what happened was the same thing that happened in 2016. Now, to win the Electoral College, you have to earn at least 270 votes. Does everybody see that? 270 votes. Now, in 2016, Donald Trump won the election because he got 290 Electoral College votes, and Hillary Clinton got 232. Okay, so on that day, that Tuesday when we had that election, we were all watching the results. And what you're gonna see on the news, you guys, on the TV, is you're gonna see the country and the states turning different colors. If it turns red, that means that that state voted, a majority of the people in that state voted for Donald Trump. And so Donald Trump is gonna get that state's points. If you see that state turn blue, that means that a majority of the people in that state voted for Biden, and Biden's going to get those points. Does that make sense? So you're going to be watching the country, and we're going to tune in on Tuesday morning too and see what it looks like. You're going to be watching those states turn different colors. If they voted for Trump, it's going to turn red, and if they voted for Biden, it's going to turn blue. Now, a lot of states are pretty much, this is what color that state's gonna be, just based on history. California is most likely gonna turn blue because more people in California are gonna vote for Biden than Donald Trump. That's the way it usually goes. California usually turns blue. A state like Oklahoma is gonna most likely turn red because more people in that state like to vote for the Republican candidate than the Democrat candidate, and that's Donald Trump. New York, probably gonna turn blue, pretty much always blue. But there are some states that are called swing states, and those are the ones that everybody is gonna be watching on Tuesday, and I hope that you'll be interested in it too after our discussion. So the swing states are the ones on this map that are brownish grayish. Do you see them? So these are the states that can kind of go either way, because in those states, they have kind of an equal number of people who vote Republican, which is Donald Trump, as who vote Democrat, which is Joe Biden. And so those are the states where you can't really predict which way are those points gonna go. Now, if you look, some of them, you know, like Iowa's only worth 6 points. Okay, but Florida, look at Florida. Florida's worth 29 points. Whoever ends up getting Florida, that's a lot of points to go towards their total. Same thing with Pennsylvania. You see Pennsylvania, they're worth 20. So whoever gets Pennsylvania, that's worth a lot of points towards your total.
Miss Tyner,
Yeah, Maddie,
why is Florida worth so many points if it's so small?
because a lot of people live there. Remember, it's not about the size of the state, it's about how many people live there. Okay? So when you look up here at the top, you guys, when people who know a lot about this, when they make a prediction about how many electoral college votes are going to go to each candidate, remember that the red is Donald Trump and the blue is Joe Biden. This is what they're predicting for the election that's coming up on Tuesday. They're pretty sure that the states that are red on the map are going to vote for the Republican candidate. And they're pretty sure that the states that are blue are going to vote for the Democratic candidate. This, they're pretty sure. But these brown ones, they're not sure. So remember, to win, one of them has to get 270 votes. So on Tuesday, we are going to be able to tune in and kind of see which states are going which way. It's going to be all over the news, I promise. Daniel, Mexico's not a state. That's why it's not on the map. This is why we need to learn our states. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
What happens if they get a tie?
So they can't get a tie in electoral college votes. But something that's interesting that we were talking about a second ago, Maddie, which is kind of related to your question, is when you look at the popular vote, that means if I just take all the votes and I count up how many votes were cast in 2016 for Hillary Clinton and how many votes were cast for Donald Trump, what's very interesting is that Hillary Clinton actually got more votes. Do you see the number down there? Hold on.
So if they would have done it the other way, that she would have won?
Yeah. And remember, we're not talking about who we want to win or who we wanted to win in 2016. We're not talking about that at all. But, you know, whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, it is very interesting when you look at that number. Can you guys see the number right there? It's kind of small. Every time I try to zoom, it changes to my next slide. But if you look if you just count up the votes, Donald Trump got 60,367,401 votes, and Hillary Clinton got 61,035,460. So 1 million more people voted for Hillary Clinton than voted for Donald Trump.
Wait, so then
all of that doesn't matter because with our electoral college system, it's not about the popular vote, it's about the electoral college votes going to each state. Does that kind of make sense? So it's kind of a crazy system. And I don't know if the same thing is going to happen this time. I don't know if one of them is going to win the electoral college vote and the other one win the popular vote, or maybe one person's going to win both. We don't know. But what makes it really exciting is on Tuesday, we get to watch it all happen. And that'll be pretty cool.
Is it gonna be live?
Yeah. Maddie, what was
for
your
another
question?
4 years?
Maddie, what
I just said so if they did it the other way that she would have won.
Yeah. If our country decided to change that and use the popular vote, then yes, Hillary Clinton would have won. And in 2000, Al Gore would have won instead of George Bush. And it happened 2 other times before that, but it was a long time ago and I don't remember who it was. Hope you still love me. So whoever it is that your family would choose or you would choose, we're not talking about all that at all. We're not going to talk about it on Tuesday either. We're going to keep our votes a quiet thing because that's what you're supposed to do with your vote. We're not supposed to tell people who you voted for. You're not supposed to ask people who they voted for. But we will have the opportunity to sit and watch live, as you said.
You're not supposed to tell anyone.
Yeah, you're not supposed to tell anybody your vote. It's a secret. So we will have the opportunity on Tuesday to log in and watch those states change different colors. And in the morning when we're on, you guys, obviously it's going to be early in voting. So it'll be early in the day. So not the state is going to have been decided to figure out the mail out. Hey, can you mute, buddy? There we go. So obviously, guys, we can't, sorry, Michael, I didn't mean to unmute you. I was trying to mute you. We can't know in the morning when we log on during class, we're not going to know who's going to win yet because different states are going to take longer to figure out, especially those swing states. They have to really make sure they have all the votes counted correctly in those swing states. But it will be really interesting to log on Monday morning and kind of see what they're saying. And then as the day goes on, once we're done on Zoom, and that night is when they will probably be able to actually declare who has won. And that person will be our president starting on January 20th of 2021. Okay?
Miss Tyner,
Yeah, who's asking me a question? Michael, what's up?
I was in Vacaville and I saw this house. It was just like covered in Trump.
Okay.
Like,
So you were at my front door when we started this conversation, Michael, but we're not talking about Donald Trump or Joe Biden in this conversation. Anybody else have a question for me about this? Does it make you more interested to see what happens on Tuesday? Montserrat says, yeah. It's fun. It's fun. Maddie, what's your question?
What happens if Trump doesn't win? Are they gonna have to kick him out of the White House?
If Trump doesn't win, then on January 20th is when it changes power from Donald Trump being president to it would be Joe Biden if he wins. And there's a whole system for how that happens, Maddie.
wait, so what would Trump do if he's not president? Would he just go back to living like a regular life?
Yeah, when you're done being president, you go back to your regular life. If he wants to continue to be in politics, he can. Like you still hear about Barack Obama being places, even though he's not president anymore, right? Yeah, you go back to your regular life. And if you wanted to continue to be a part of our political system, you can, Braxton.
Would he still have all that money though? Like if he got a bunch?
What do you mean?
Yeah, because it's his money.
Yes, just like if you quit your job and went to go do a different one, they're not going to take your money away. Christian, I see your hand. What was your question?
When they're done being president, do they still have security?
I think so, Christian, because they're kind of like a famous person at that point. But I don't know the answer to that fully. I don't know, Christian. Question. Montserrat, I see your hand. What's your question, sweetheart?
Miss Tyner, when presidents, like when somebody else gets picked per se, Trump got picked and then Obama went to his regular life, would he still get to vote?
Yeah. And the president gets to vote too. We'll probably see it on TV. They usually put on the news when one of the candidates goes to vote. So you'll probably be able to see Joe Biden vote, and you'll probably be able to see Donald Trump
They
vote.
probably vote for themselves, of course.
Of course they do. Yeah.
Why would they vote for themselves? That's just an extra vote that they'll get to.
But the other important thing, you guys, is that when people are voting on this week, in this election, they're not just voting for president. That's the big one that has the most impact on our lives.
You can vote for a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, there are lots of other things to vote for too, like all those propositions you're hearing about on TV, right? Those are like laws. So you get to vote whether you think that should become a law or whether it shouldn't become a law. And we also get to vote for our senators and our House of Representatives. And we'll talk about that when we get more into history in January. Okay. Daniel, I see your hand. What's your question? Oh, you're going to chat it to me. Okay, Michael, I saw your hand. What's your question?
So, is there ever a tie for the laws?
For the propositions, can there be a tie? Michael, that's a great question. The laws are just decided based on popular vote. The Electoral College is only used for president. So, Michael, sometimes those votes are really, really close. Like it might be like 51% vote yes and 49 vote no. And it'll be really close, but there's always a winner in one direction or the other. There was a tie. We have to have like a revote to see if we could figure it out. Daniel, Mexico's not a state because it's a country.
Mexico's in California.
Mexico is not in California. Mexico is a country.
Wait, Mexico's in California.
Mexico is not in California.
Yeah, it is. Mexico's in California.
There's a border between here and there. And Natalie's like, no, Maddie. It's a whole different country. All right. Any other questions before we're done for today? You guys did a good job with that. Okay. So on Tuesday, when we're in class. We will take a couple minutes just to look and see what the map is looking like at the time, and we'll take a little look at it, and then we'll do some more class and
Miss Tyner.
just kind of keep an eye on what's going on, okay? Michael, I hear your question. What is it?
You guys are all frozen to me.
I'm sorry, Michael. A fabulous thing. All right, let's get our planners filled out, and we will be all done for today. Are we ready?
Miss Tyner,
Yep.
so what happens if we don't get all the marbles in the jar? Are we still going to get to watch Harry Potter?
You better all turn your stuff in today, or you'll be going to be doing it during Harry Potter. I can tell you that.
But so if we don't get our marbles, we still get to watch Harry Potter?
Depends on how nice I'm feeling.
Will you please be feeling nice?
All right. I'm going to repeat my threat. If stuff's not done tomorrow, I'm putting you in a breakout room to do it during Harry Potter.
All by yourself.
Have a blast. All right. Here we go. We've got 4 things to turn in today. What are they? Tell me. What are they? What are they?
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter chapter 9? You do 8 yesterday?
Yep.
Harry Potter chapter 9. All right, Harry Potter chapter 9. What else have we got?
Workout.
A workout.
Math.
PE circuit. Which one? 14? I'm losing my mind. PE.
Let's find my math real quick.
Miss Tyner.
There.
What's up, Michael?
What are we gonna do with the things you gave us?
I don't know what we're talking about.
The stuff they came with our homework.
We're going to eat that treat tomorrow while we watch.
We're gonna eat it for a snack during the movie. No boy.
You know, there's like a note on it that explains that if you read it.
Yeah.
Love ya. All right, PE circuit. We've also got what else? 4 things. What else do we have today? A
We
journal.
have math in our journal.
Okay. And math, which is lesson 16, homework. If you would like help with that homework, I will be in office hours today. If you want help correcting your test, we might not have time today to do that because we have homework to do.
Miss Tyner.
Time tomorrow. Yes, Jonathan.
You know the note you gave us with our snacks?
Yeah.
I took mine off in a while, and I'm looking at it back from behind, and it looks like gibberish. Like just like.
Good to know you can't read backwards. Okay, what did we do today in class? What should I add here? What did we do in class?
People. We only got 15 people.
15 people. That's only because Natalie turned in her Harry Potter last night at like 10 o'clock.
Wait, so if Natalie didn't turn in her Harry Potter, wouldn't it count?
Would have been 14. Thanks, Natalie.
Thank you.
I mean, thanks to the other 14 of you also, but Natalie. All right, we've got 15 people. We did math today. For math, we worked on dividing by powers of 10. All right, and then we talked about the election. Discussion.
Okay.
All right, reminders for tomorrow. Reminders for tomorrow. Get your work turned in. Okay, remember that today I am doing grades for tomorrow. So if you need to raise something up, this would be the last time to do so. All right, get your work turned in. We've also got Harry Potter tomorrow. Don't forget your snacks. Remember, as we talked about, you are welcome to bring yourself a blankie. You're welcome to bring yourself a pillow. You're welcome to bring yourself extra snacks in addition to what I gave you. Up to you. Make yourself comfy and ready for a movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask my dad if I can
Hold on. Maddie?
I said we
make
could
some
just
popcorn for tomorrow, and I'm gonna have like a Rice Krispie treat.
No.
Yep. Rice Krispies treats would be a great idea. You gonna give me one, Jonathan?
No, Jonathan.
I don't have. No, I can't. I don't know. I don't even know where you live. So I just be driving around. Are you Miss Tyner? Next house. Are you Miss Tyner? Next house.
I would like to watch this happen, Jonathan. I was gonna say something else. Oh, I have already said this once, but I'll say it again, that the movie tomorrow is longer than 2 hours. It's about 2.5 hours. So I'm gonna start it as close to 9 o'clock as I can, but we will be on past our normal 11
Miss
o'clock
Tyner?
time to watch the end of the movie. I apologize, I can't make it go any fast. Okay, so just be prepared. You have to be on just a little bit longer. Okay. Maddie had asked earlier this week if, because we can't make class shorter on Friday, if we could have less assignments due tomorrow. And that is the plan right now, assuming we can stay above 15, but it's been a little dicey. All right, are we ready?
Wait, Miss Tyner.
Yep.
I have a question.
Jose, what's up?
Oh, which movie are we gonna be watching? Which one?
The first one.
It was like the
Oh,
fifth time.
okay.
What's
Miss
your,
Tyner,
what your classmate said? Yes, Jonathan.
can the meeting start at like 8:45 instead of 9? That way we have a little bit extra time to get ready and just like try our position.
Natalie says absolutely not. She will not be awake yet. So no.
Oh man.
We'll just-
I won't be awake either.
it'll be
Look,